because of the smoke that's blowing over.
How much is that affecting horses?
A lot, actually, a lot.
Yeah.
And the best example of that is that there are people report sort of horses in chronic smoke things, but there was Calgary had fires a couple of years ago, and there was smoke over the area for 6 weeks. And there was a study done with polo horses that were fit, and they put a mask on them to collect gas, and they could measure aerobic, they could measure VO2 max using the mask.
Yeah.
So that gas exchange. And they found that, and then they did a maximal exercise test, which was looking at, time to run a specified distance, 800 metres, on a track. And they measured, and then they did that 2 weeks later, 2.5 weeks later actually, after the smoke had cleared. Now this was the control group in the study. They were giving, so they had a control group and the treated group. The treated group they were giving something to try and improve their lung function. But the control group showed that they had about a 15% increase in speed and a 13% increase in VO2 max related to the smoke clearing. And while the smoke had been there, all horses had signs of respiratory disease, coughing, nasal discharge, and they did some lung washes and found the signs that you get in lung washes of mild equine asthma, inflammatory airway disease. So smoke can really have an impact.
So it's 30% is massive. That's a lot.
13%.
13%. So it's
15% increase in speed. You can imagine if you'd run those horses, they would at that time they wouldn't have run. So I wonder whether people who are running who are training horses in smoky environments now, and there are plenty of them, Melbourne, east of Melbourne, is that having a real impact on the horse's lung function?
When you say that in that study where in California when that smoke
Calgary,
where that smoke
was polo horses, but they were sort of it's equivalent.
Still performance horses.
Yeah.
How thick was that smoke? Is there any way to
I don't know what the records were. There's air quality numbers, and I guess those numbers have been used to lead to cancel races. I think it's if you can see the smoke and you can feel it on your eyes, then it's enough to warrant thinking seriously about exercising your horse.
I didn't realise it had that much of an impact. I knew it would, but I had no idea that that's how sensitive it was.
Because the horse moves so much air in and out of his lungs, and some of the particles in the smoke are of the size that they'll penetrate deep into the lungs. Now, if they're a really tiny particle, they'll get blown out because they won't settle. But if they're a heavier, slightly bigger, heavier particle, they settle into the lungs, and they then make the lung more reactive to pollen. They reduce the immune response of the lung, more reactive to pollen and bacteria. So there's this term, equine asthma, you've read about, they're trying to describe it and correlate it with human asthma, but that's inflammatory airway disease fits into that.
Yeah.
And, dust, control of dust is probably the key thing, and things like treatment with inhaled corticosteroids and bronchodilators are beneficial. And we've got a bit of an interest because we've got a fish oil supplement, and fish oil, the long-chain omega-3 fatty acids in fish oil have been shown to be beneficial in reducing inflammation and combating inflammatory airway disease. So it's one of the recommended things. So we've got quite an interest in that area.